welcome back to the studio. Today I want to try something a little different and do a piece inspired by clouds because I love clouds. I'm trying to find the clouds I made before to show you what that can look like. Aha! So here I did some cloud outlines all in a single color light blue from my Kuretake palette, and then I did the box method to fill it in. So it went like this, and then also the clouds are going out. I want to try something kind of different where I love when you look at clouds how the sky is different colors behind them, or I guess how the sky is different colors in general. And so I want to make the clouds white and the sky to change colors, but like be an ombre. However, because I'll go from the bottom, I think, but because they're gonna follow the shape of the clouds, the Zen Tangles, the colors are gonna move all over the page, and so I'm gonna try and control that, which I haven't done before, so we're doing it together for the first time. So that's the plan. I think I'm gonna use this ultramarine blue or the cobalt blue, not entirely sure. I also might put bits of this little light periwinkle color. Unclear, we're gonna see how we go. But I have always loved clouds and I've been collecting photos of them for so long, and I have this one photo that I really like where the clouds are so fluffy. And I think I'm gonna try and replicate that. I'm gonna post a bunch of these photos on my Instagram so you can see them. Let's see if we can put this in today. I know I always say that. I don't know if it's gonna work. You can see what I am talking about. But the sky is extremely blue and the clouds are really fluffy and white, and I really like that look. So let's do our really white fluffy clouds. That little background noise is the kitties. It's a Saturday today, and so I'm hoping there isn't going to be construction. And I want this one to be really pigmented, so I'm going to fill in all here. For some reason, the blues bleed quite a lot in this book, which I find interesting. Okay, then let's do another really fluffy one here. I definitely want these designs to fall off the page. So they're going off the side like this because the sky is infinite. And so I don't want the boundaries of the paper to influence it in any way, or I guess limit our imagination of what the clouds could be. So we have two big ones here, and then let's do one more up there. I'm realizing as I do this that maybe if I'm doing the sky in this color, I should have done the cloud outline in a different color. But shoulda, woulda, coulda. I guess if I realize that is true at the end, I can just do another one, right? That's what's so nice about these Zen Tangles is at least I don't think they're too much pressure. If you wanna, the whole point is to, how do I verbalize it? Learn something new each time, and then you can take that on into your next piece. Okay, so what I would like to do is start from the very top, like this. And these are gonna be really opaque. Am I going over my paper? Oops. Really opaque blue. Oh, I forgot I just did that. I've just woken up, well, like 30 minutes ago, and then I gave the kittens some medicine, hung out with Ryan and Parmesan, looked out the window. It's very cloudy today, so the sky's just one color, gray. And then I join you here. So in my ombre sky, I'm thinking it'll be solid blue until about the bottom of this cloud. So I think we can go ahead and Zen Tangle this like usual, tracing the shape that we had just exactly as possible. And then filling in any little corners like this. And then I kind of feel like that flattens out a little oddly. So let's round it out. Okay, so let me just look at this interesting, oh, whoa. It's peeling. I'll put that over in the trash. Now we're gonna do our second line. So I want this to be quite a structured one because we're playing, did I just do it again? No, because we're playing with the color, as you know, we have a different intention each time. And this one is going to be to experiment with controlling the color. If you don't really know what I mean, I don't really know what I mean. We're going to see how it goes. I think until about here will be this color. I'm going to use the same blue. I mean, I might change as we go down, but for as long as I can. But I'm adding different degrees of water to lighten it up. And that's what I mean by controlling it. So that's gonna be a little tricky to do, but we're gonna work it out together. I like painting right in the morning because things haven't had time to fill up and stress me out or get on my nerves, so I can be more at peace with the whole situation. Okay, so notice this one has more water than this one, and that's why it's darker, this one has less water, but that's okay because it's the edge. So I'm gonna get full opacity again and do our next line. The more paint is on the brush as opposed to water, the more it's kind of gonna run out sooner because the water isn't gliding it along. So that's something to factor in as we make our way down the paper. So again, just the normal amount of paint that we've been using until about here. And then I'm going to keep what's on my brush but add some water. And then try and re-up and remain the same consistency. But I think there's going to be a little going back and editing going on in this. So we'll do what we think makes sense, and then we might go back because watercolor always looks darker when it's wet because the water adds a value to it. So I need it to fully dry before I can really tell what's going on. So this lighter, that pitter patter back there is the kittens exploring something which I'd really rather you guys didn't touch. I'm actually gonna see if I can get it in frame this time. It being the paint, because I feel like it might be helpful to see how I add water and whatnot to this particular piece because of the value change. So hopefully this will all work out for everybody. So I have a little puddle in the middle of my tray there, and that is my original blue. So I can just dip into that like normal and go until I think the original blue will go, which, let's take a look at that for a moment, is till about here. Let's say the top of this cloud. Okay, that's a good visual. So about here. And then I'm taking what I have, but adding a little water to drag it across here, blend that out, try and make the same shade. See, now this I think could use a tiny more pigment. And then I want this lighter kind of blue to go until about this cloud here. So with that, we can just go like normal for the rest of this piece. I have a really lovely window in my bedroom, and I wake up usually an hour before I have to get out of bed, and then I just sit, or I lay in my bed and I watch what the clouds are doing that day. And it's just such a peaceful way to wake up, because every day it's different, and I feel like it makes me appreciative of what there is out there at that time. So different times of the year I've found the clouds to be better, like more what I find beautiful. Like November, crazy sunrises. This time of year in LA, this spring, summer, early summer to midsummer time, it's often cloudy in the mornings, which is not fun for me to look at, but it is fun for me to film in. So that's why I'm sitting here on my Saturday morning making this nice cloud painting, because it feels nice to do so. And I just love that it's different every time. It's like a little gift of beauty. I also, you know, my yellow Instagram account, I don't know if you do because it's kind of random, but I have a similar account for pretty clouds that I see. And a lot of what I wanted to do in this piece is inspired by those two. I just love to collect pictures of them. And then I use them often in my work. So I have a body of work that doesn't have a name yet, but effectively it's paintings, like a mixture of the whimsy of painting, but also a little bit of realism. And I used mixed media to convey that. I use a bunch of different things. There's always a cloud focus in those pieces, or I shouldn't say always, but a lot of the time. And they're based off real places, but then I give them a little bit of a made-up element. And those clouds are always based off of pictures that I have taken. So I love collecting them and then just being able to use them later. So let's look right here right now. This puff of the cloud has gone up, but because it's difficult for me to get in there, it kind of naturally just straightened out. So that's interesting to notice, isn't it? I also think in looking at this should be a little darker, this first layer. So let's add in some more pigment. And I think up here too. So this is one of those coming back once it's dried moments. This will be the last line that divides these two sections, or the last solid line of this nature we've been using. I'm going to add a little more color in there. And I'm not trying to make the lines go back up like that cloud, because we've passed that stage really, and it's now become flat, and that's just what it is. So we're leaning into that element of the design. So here we're still going with our opaqueness. Such a nice blue. It's cobalt. I'm gonna get into this corner as best I can. Milo. I knew it was him. Someone was eating my slipper. And then trying to retain the value, we're gonna come back up. Look at this little bleed. Let's go around it. And down. And then, yeah, so I'm trying to make this consistent horizontally around this little bleed. Fun, and now we have our first little section, which I feel like this should actually be lighter, so I'm taking clean wet brush and like kind of erasing ish. It's not gonna take off too much because this page is so, what's the word, absorbent, but a little. Gonna make that echo a little better. Could do that here too, actually. Little bleed. Okay. Nice. So now keep going and fill in this section entirely. Now here, there's gonna be a lot of little bits where I'm gonna wanna use the tip of my brush. So let me do what I know is there. Take that around, and then we can get in here just a little. Boop. Okay, so see how even in this same line we've done darker and lighter. It's a little unclear because this is much lighter and this is darker and those are the same plane. Maybe as we go, I'm gonna add some more value to this section. Oh my gosh, there's 3 kittens sitting on my one slipper. It's a lot of crowdedness, you guys. So maintaining our opaque color. We're gonna get a bunch of interesting shapes on this guy because of the line method we've used. So there's the puffiness of the clouds, which is like a inside out Cassandra, which is a Doctor Who reference, yes. Okay, so this section might end up kind of being like one line. Let's see how this goes. Okay, so I'm using my tip to outline where it's all gonna be. And then once that's in order, I will fill in how much the thickness of the others would be, which is quite a lot. Okay. I think for sure I'm gonna want more pigment on this guy, so let's just put that in. Milkshake, why don't you come sit here on my lap? Okay, and probably the one below as well. And I think more, but let's keep going because I don't know how long this blue is gonna last. So, okay, we'll start from this side this time. This is definitely lighter than I would like. Oops. But as long as we get our lines down, then we can kind of see what we're working with. So this is gonna be fun because we have a corner that we'll get into. Then we have a bleed that we'll paint around. Let's thicken these up. And then take our line around our cloud. And then here, I think it's gonna get a lot lighter. Because you know the sky is darker at the top and then lighter as it comes closer to the horizon level. Okay, fun. What's going on down there, little kitties? You wanna come up here too? Hold on, let me do a kitten rearrangement. Here's one, by the way. Milkshake. Okay, so unless we're acting really fast with the dry, wet, clean brush technique, you can't really make a watercolor lighter. It doesn't really work in the same way as acrylic or something where you could mix white in or something lighter. So because this color is this section is this lightness, which is lighter compared to these, for example. I'm gonna wanna make these lighter, but before I get too excited and ahead of myself, I'm gonna let it dry, because maybe it will actually dry lighter. Oh, milkshake. Okay. So I'm gonna go back in with our next line. This is gonna take some precision right here. Now that I'm doing this, just thinking out loud, maybe it makes sense to make the lines really light and then add to them. This is definitely too light though for my vision. Oops. So here's where I take my brush and I'm going to take just water now and spread out this pigment so it is lightened. Whoa, sneezy boy. There's quite the gap between these two, and just based on the type of piece we're doing, I'd like to shrink that. So I'm gonna go take the tip of my brush like this and what's the word? Make the consistency of the white lines a little clearer. Okay. So now what I want to do is bring this shade all the way to here, and then from here down, get lighter. So how did I make that consistency? Not sure. Making it up. Let's get this down. So we're making our water path effectively. And then we'll go in with our pigment. Milo, come here. Oops. So I'm going to take it to about here, and then I want it to be lighter. So just taking my water to drag this around. Just a tip of the blue. Oh, that's awfully light. Okay. So that looks dark, but it's okay because we're gonna spread it out. Add some above it here. Actually, that was probably more than I wanted to do. So is this. Oh my gosh, well we might need to change our values system. But let's just get this down. Okay, so now seeing that that is this color, I know for sure I'm going to want to add more pigment into these guys. So we can just go do that. It's best to do this when it's wet because then you put the paint down and it'll kind of naturally just spread into anything that is also in its wet path. But it's still possible when it's dry. We just need to, oops, it is, be a little more careful. Oh, whoa. Milo, come here. Bless you. The kittens are ill, if you didn't know. It's why they're sneezing. They have shelter germs, but they're on medicine, so won't be for long, will it, Milkshake? Okay, just gonna take 1 second to find Milo because he is down here on his own. Put him. Whoop. You want to show them your little face? Your eyes match the picture. Whoop. Nope. Okay, we'll just put you down. Okay. So, based off how the piece organically is developing, this is going to be our new baseline for the darker blue. So, I'm going to do a very light one here to remind myself that this is how it's going to go. Oh, Milkshake, I can't see if you're there. You can go over here. These are quite bleedy. Oh, Milkshake. Don't step in the wet one because then I'm gonna have to clean you. Oh. Something about light blue is so calming to me. Don't even think about it. Nope. Oh, nope. This is a little too dangerous for kittens. Let's put you back here. So following our nice line down. And that is, I think, a bleed is what happened there. But we'll just reflect it in our next line and it will become part of our piece. This can have more color up here. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, This is cool. We have a bit of a ombre within our line there. Oh my gosh, way too pigmented. We'll spread it out quick, quick, quick. And then this can be pigmented, and then as we go down, it's going to lighten. And we'll see how far this will take us. Just to about there. My brush started to dry up, so I'm going to pick up with as little as I can. Reflect that little dip. And then I think what I want to do as we get, oopsie, closer to the quote-unquote earth at the bottom of the paper. Oh, we have a visitor. Hi. Is introduce a new color. Sometimes there's a little haze above the horizon, you know. So I'm happy with this lightness level. What I think we can do, because this is now its own negative space section, is we can take this same color, this very light color, and do the bottom line of the inline of this negative space. Oh, for the most part anyway. Oh no! Hey, I was painting that, silly goose. Come back down here, please. Gonna just, there we go. Luckily it didn't have much pigment, so it's not gonna be noticeable. Take our way around here. And then as we come up, we can pick up more pigment. Whoa, not that much. Like this. And so this kind of fades naturally. Oh, somebody has made their way back onto the table. Okay, so this, see that's darker. I want to put the same value. No. No kittens in the paint water. Why don't you go look out the window? No, I don't know why this blue is so attractive to you guys. It's not a natural color. Okay, then this inside area. Wait, I really want to fill that in. Okay. This, so much bleed, so there's kind of a lot going on, but like down here, it's more crisp up here. I think that's just because it has so much water. Don't chew my hair. You're a rambunctious little kitten today. Oh. I feel like this whole video is a montage of me going, oh. You might be right. So this same idea that we're doing, the ombre, which this is my first time, but I might work out a better system for it, so stay tuned. You could try with anything. You could try with green, maybe it's like a field, or maybe you do a flower and the petals are darker on the outside, lighter on the inside, or something like that. I feel like there's loads of ways to take this and make it your own. It could be inspiring. Okay, I'm into it. So now let's do this line, which really doesn't have much pigment at all. It'll be our last entire one like this, because as we hit this corner and go down, we're going to introduce our new horizon color. Very exciting. I'm gonna go around this bleed. Ah! Whoa. You can look for a second, and then I need to keep painting. Don't you make your way over to the water. All right, 1 second's up. Come sit here. Whoa, look at that bleed. Gonna get in this corner. I think this just comes with the territory when using a lot of water. Learning as we go. It's cool how when it's so opaque like this, I mean translucent, you can see the freckles of the paper so clearly. So I'm gonna take this color till about here. And then we're gonna go in this palette, this little Charvin one, and match it up to here. And then take this down. Like this. And then actually, I think right at the bottom, changing color again could be cool. Horizons at sunset, the pinkiness starts, so maybe we take some of the pink and blend those in before it dries. This looks like cotton candy, whoa. Or the Pantone Colors of the Year, was it 2016? And it was the Serenity Blue and the pink. Anyways, then we're gonna, ooh, do we follow along the line like that? I feel like, no, I don't wanna do that. Okay, so now we're gonna have a little pattern system going on. So we're gonna take our light blue, very watery, oh, that was too much. I felt it touch the bottom of my pool in my tray. Then we're gonna take our, it looks more periwinkle in its tray, and it looks more blue, more greeny almost on the paper. Does it? Am I just crazy? Yeah, this looks way more purpley. And then I'm gonna take this down with just water like that, so that when I come up from the bottom, the pink, it'll do a little bleed itself, which is kind of less for me to have to manipulate. And then I'm gonna help a little bit, just like that. Okay. And because it's wet, it's kind of gonna go at its own pace, and so we'll just see what happens there. Let's do our next line. Same thing. The more wet it is, the more the paint can run up. The wetness too, by the way. So this was really wet, so look what's happening over there. That's kind of cool. Maybe in a way this represents the buildings of the skyline, how they're all at different heights. I am looking out at downtown right now, and even though, whoops, it's within clouds, so it's kind of hard to see. I can see the different shapes of the building, so maybe that's our abstract interpretation of that. So, oh, you know what? This should actually be a little of our periwinkly blue. So I'm going to add that in because this is the horizon level of that. So we have a mix right there. Then maybe I can put this here. I think that's fine. And then we'll follow it along. From here it should be pretty smooth sailing. So even though this one went much further up, I want to try and bring it to the same place each time, which is around here. Get our bridge ready. Bless you. And now that I'm looking at these, I'd like this to be a little crisper. Okay. So let's talk about the actual clouds. I had thought about leaving them white. I'm still kind of feeling like that is a cool thing to do, especially while we're in a experimentation era of this book, because I don't have too many pieces where I've left something white. I did in the snowflake piece. And then when I did the last cloud piece, whoa, a sneezy little girl. A lot of people said they would have liked the clouds to be white, so maybe this is the one where the clouds are white. And I can always come back to it, I guess. If I'd really thought hard about it, I would have made the outline of the clouds the same ombre or whatever, but I did not. Right into the corner. Do, 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 do. Only skinny little white spaces here. That pink's gonna bleed in there. I'm going to make them wider, moving forward. Girl. Maybe that's them touching there is like the pollution of the city getting into everything. Could have a lot of, I don't want to say meanings because there isn't much meaning in this piece. It's more of a piece for my mental, but interpretations. So if you're seeing something in it and I'm not mentioning it or seeing it, then that is your interpretation. And it's just as legit as mine. It's the thing with art, it has so many interpretations. I prefer stuff like that to stuff like math, which has a set answer because, I don't know, just feels gentler to me. Okay. Wow, look how far this pink's gone up there. And this one's traveling across. How sweet. So this time, I think what we'll do is the tip of this line will be the fake periwinkle color. But then the rest of it is gonna be the pink because it's just at the crossing of them. Like that. That's quite a nice little right angle. I'm gonna clean my brush and just scoop out that. Getting a little dirty. And then from here on, they're going to be pink. So let me just take this out the way because you've seen that. Cute. I'm still kind of feeling like leaving the clouds white, so I'll show you the snowflake one and the other clouds after so we can play compare and contrast. Now let's have a look at, oh, we made purple, the blues. I think this one should be a little darker, just because between those two there's a little dramatic difference, I would say, now that things have dried and the dust has settled. Waiting for the dust to settle is, I feel like, always a good idea, whether it's like what you're saying to someone and you need to regulate a little before you say something crazy, or I don't know, I never regret waiting a moment on stuff like that, unless of course it's time sensitive, my least favorite kind of thing. I'm a slow person. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. It's not going to be exact, but it's a great little essence. How lovely. So we're going to very carefully, wow, I'd love to see a sky like this in real life. Go look on my Instagram and I'll post the picture that this was inspired by. It has 3 palm trees in front actually, but you'll hopefully recognize it. I think it's the same color. Also, when I was doing this, I was really highly considering leaving the background white. And just in the spirit of taking things we learn from each piece, leaving white in this one is kind of a natural next step. So let's go to the blues. Okay, so here's the snowflake one where I left some white just because it kind of gave crystals that form, like frozen crystals. And then here's the other cloud one where we filled everything in. So this one to me is more of a less abstract, an actual depiction of something, whereas this one is a Zen Tangle inspired by the shape of clouds. And this is still a Zen Tangle inspired by the shape of clouds, but the language is not coming to me at this time, but it's more intentional, I guess. So this was fun. I really liked it. I'd love to do more like this. Let me know if you have ideas. Also, I can take you a little closer to it as we wrap. Ideas of other ways to use this style. I'd love to know what you think. And I would love to go have a picnic under this sky. But for now, I'm gonna go make my coffee and probably read my book. So that was nice, spending the morning together. I hope you have a great day or a great night if you're going to bed. And I will see you next time.